if your horse learns to do the flying changes late or crooked or gets really scared and panicked about the flying changes, it can be really, really hard to fix. Hello, my scarecrow friend and I are going to give you 5 exercises that you should do with your horse before you start trying your flying changes, because I feel like a lot of riders, they just one day decide, oh, I'm going to do flying changes today, and they haven't really worked enough on the basic prerequisites. So that's what we're going to cover today, because I don't want you to go flying off your horse and end up like a scarecrow. Also, I'm doing a free webinar on flying changes, so click the link below, sign up. I'm going to take you step by step, through the process that I use to teach my horse flying changes. Okay, so the first exercise, which seems really simple, but is often missed for working on your flying changes, is that you really want to practice your trot, canter, trot transitions. And you want to make sure that your horse is responsive to a light aid, that your horse stays round, and that your horse goes immediately from trot to canter. So if it takes like a lot to set up for the canter transition, if you have to kick and kiss and ask your horse to canter 5 times before they pick up the canter from the trot, then you're probably not ready to do the flying changes. The second exercise that you want to practice before you start working on your flying changes is the counter canter. So counter canter really is a test of your horse's balance and straightness. And it's super important that you can practice the counter canter, without, see him go down on the forehand there? So that was a moment where he lost his balance. So you want to make sure that you can counter canter your horse and that your horse doesn't anticipate doing a flying change, because you don't want your horse to think that every time they change direction, they're supposed to do a flying change. Now, the next exercise is what I call the rubber band exercise. This is where you create more jump and activity and collection in your canter. So go medium canter, bigger, 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 collected canter. Half halt, no. See, that's not good enough, right? Because when I went to collect, he just hollowed and put his head up. So medium canter, and oh, you got a cough, it's okay. Medium canter, collected canter. Half halt, half halt, half halt, half halt, medium canter, collected canter. Half halt, half halt, half halt, half halt, half halt, half halt. Good boy. Medium canter, good boy. Collected canter. Half halt, half halt, half halt, half halt. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, so that's 3 exercises. The next exercise, which is kind of a weird one that a lot of people don't do, but I think is super important to do with your horse before the flying changes, is you want to be able to do a little leg yield hopscotch. So you want to be able to go in, 2 steps straight, out, over, 2 steps straight, in, and that reaction, when you first put your leg on, there, needs to be a little bit quicker. So in the flying change, your horse has to react to your leg aid in a millisecond. So what you want to do with these little walk leg yields is that good boy, the second your leg goes on, over, good boy, straight, straight, over, good boy, straight, good boy, over, good boy, good boy. That's really important so that when you put your leg aid on for the flying change, that your horse understands that they should move over. And then the last big exercise is simple changes. But here's the thing, is that so many riders and trainers too, I think sometimes, like, I know I've been in a clinic where they're just like, do a flying change, do it again, and it's just not working. So rather than repeating the same mistake, try to break it down so that your horse can really understand the aid. And the thing about the flying change aid is that the flying change aid is the same as the aid for canter. So that's why all these walk canter walks and all of these simple changes and creating the adjustability and the jump in the canter, all of that is really, really important before you do a flying change. And Mercurio, flying changes are not the easiest exercise for him. So I always do a lot of preparation, good boy, to help him understand what I'm asking for, good boy, rather than just cantering him across the diagonal, hitting him with the whip, and hoping that he actually does the flying change. So that's just a few of the prerequisites, but one thing that I think is super important is the better that you can prepare your horse and teach your horse all of the steps before you work on the changes, the more success that you're going to have with teaching the flying changes. And the worst thing you can do is repeat mistakes. If your horse learns to do the flying changes late or crooked or gets really scared and panicked about the flying changes, it can be really, really hard to fix. So make sure that you've mastered the prerequisite exercises, and if you want more help, check out the description box and sign up for my flying changes webinar. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I post a new video every single Wednesday.